Just a heads up for those of you who have been following these particular videos, I'm going to do it a little bit differently. I had been saving my comments until the end. People said they didn't like that. They'd prefer the commentary as the issues arise within the police interview. But when I pause and make the comments, people complain. So I'm going to do what's easier for me now, and that is to pause. It means I don't have to repeat what they've said, and it's a little bit easier to remember what the heck it was I wanted to say in the first place. We're partway through her second interview with police, and this is the one where she and her lawyer originally called the authorities because she thought she could help the police.
I'll watch you something.
What time usually would you guys fall asleep? Like for me, I go to bed at
11, I don't know, like 11:30. Sometimes I go up because I'm uncomfortable. Sometimes he stays lately supposedly because of the divorce and the thing. He hasn't been sleeping at all.
So that Thursday night.
I went to sleep with my daughter.
Right, but you said that was at 12:30 a.m., right?
I doubt that she would necessarily see that as a red flag. Most people don't. Any change in behavior from anybody, good or bad, is always worth noting. This goes to Fotis's state of mind. He hadn't been sleeping. So something's going on with him. Because she says lately, this divorce had been going on, I think, 2 years. That's something that is useful for the police to know in their investigation into Fotis.
12:59 a.m.
Yes, so and he was sleeping with me.
He was sleeping next to you in bed. What time did you guys go to bed that night? Approximately. You don't have to give us exact time.
11:30 to 12, let's say.
And he's in bed and you're in bed. You guys have your nightstands, I'm assuming, tablets, whatever people lay in bed. Are you guys phone scrollers at night? You know, like on Facebook or reading the news? Does he do that at night?
He's a lot in his Facebook and Instagram.
On his phone or on his tablet? So you guys are laying in bed, right? In your next home?
No, he lately he's been bringing his computer watching us movies.
Okay.
Because
you know what he did that Thursday night? Was he have his phone in the bedroom? Was he
usually
hanging out?
The phone he puts it in the window that is next. In the bed, I sleep in the side coming in, and he sleeps in the one close to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I don't think she actually remembers. He asked the question, that night, did he bring the computer? And she said, usually he does this. And then she's going on now to say, this is how everything is situated. So she's giving something that's general and usual. I don't think she actually remembers. And if you in your brain think it's a normal night and nothing unusual is happening, then you're not going to remember. Unless, and I'll give you an example right from this case. The thunderstorm part, she remembered, partly because she had the benefit of looking at her phone, but partly because it was not a thing that happened every single day. So she would have remembered, at some point this past week, one of these nights, my daughter called me about a thunderstorm. But if it's just a normal thing that you always do, you're not going to remember specifically, well, did we do that normal thing? Unless there was something significantly abnormal or odd.
And he puts his phone on that window that is going towards the back. That's where he charged his phone. Me, I charge it next to that.
Do you remember what he did on that Thursday night? Was he laying in bed on his phone next to you? Or was he, I mean, if you can remember.
I think it was just him. I don't remember him.
What time does he usually wake up in the morning?
He a lot at 6:40, but he wakes up, and a lot lately he's been waking up around 4:35
in the morning.
And I don't know.
What are you doing while he's up? You stay in bed?
I get upset and I
is he loud, changing?
He's very loud.
The couples thing, someone's loud in the morning.
Yes, and when I cannot stand it, I go.
Again, there's a behavioral change from photos. Lately, he's been getting up at 4:30 in the morning. Normally, it's later than that. So he's not sleeping at night, and he's also getting up really early in the morning, and she doesn't know what he does. She just said so. And I note here that when she's talking about putting where the phone is and the charger, she's talking in present tense. She's talking about, this is usually what we do. This is how it works. He puts this here, right? And I think that's important because there's a difference between what we usually do and what we actually did and whether or not she remembers. And she's saying lately he gets up at 4:30 and she doesn't know what he does. She's not saying that he did that on this day, and she's not saying so far that he didn't.
That morning? Did that happen?
No, because I was in the corner. I mean, I don't know what happened in that room.
Secondly, does he own a pair of Converse, like the sneakers like you have?
Sorry. Now I'm pausing too much, maybe. They ask, did he do that night, waking up at 4:30? And she says, I don't know. I was with Nicole. I don't know what happened in that room. If she wanted to give him a false alibi, why would she say, I went to Nicole's room and I don't know what happened there? Why would she admit, sometimes he wakes up at 4:30 and on this date, I don't know if he woke up at 4:30 and went and did something. I don't know. If she's going to give him a false alibi, this would be really bad.
Is he owning the guy's version of those?
He has Converse, I don't know, but it's another brand, black.
Like similar to those?
Yes.
A different brand, but black?
I think they are golden boots or ones. Yes.
And he was wearing what when you saw him downstairs on that Friday morning calling out?
Pair of jeans and a light shirt.
Shoes.
He has a lot of like similar to that one that you're wearing. So it could be that one, it could be one like this, or like with, it was light.
And as far as you can remember, Michelle, that was the first time you saw him. So you don't know if he was wearing something different at that time. When you were, during that morning, that Friday morning, do you know what car? Was there a car missing? From, he has three cars?
Well, usually they sleep all the cars inside the garage.
Okay.
So the way we usually park.
But that Friday morning, do you know if one of you have the Suburban, the Raptor?
Cherokee that I parked next to the garbage
was
can.
there.
Yeah, that's the
But
one
you
I drove.
did, when you took the call to the school.
Yes, and I don't know why I think in my head that the Suburban was there, but maybe I'm making it up.
Okay, so you're not.
It sounds like they've looked at that print in Jennifer's garage and concluded or thought that it's a Converse shoe. So that was why the question about the shoes. She's consistent with what she says about what he was wearing as best she can remember. And notice when they ask her about the cars, she says the cars sleep in the garage. It's just another indication, and there are many through this, that although her English is pretty good to have a conversation, you can understand her, she seems to understand them, that there are nuances and smaller things that somebody who doesn't have English as a first language, dealing in a police interview like this, it's easy. It would be easy to make mistakes. And it would be equally easy for people, even in the interaction, to not recognize the mistakes. And what she says about the Suburban, I thought I saw it, but maybe I'm making it up. Meaning maybe I'm imagining it. Maybe I'm wrong. Because they have made her doubt her own perception already with the amount of pressure that they've put on her, with the failure to listen, with the challenges to her, well, that's not accurate, and we know this is not true. They told her that she and Fotis stopped to dump garbage 30 times. And they've later said, well, actually, that was not true. What they know is 3. They think there are a few more because the truck went out of view of the cameras, but it wasn't 30. They also insisted that either it was not raining or that if it was, the precipitation was only minor, but it was raining quite heavily. So she's being told that she didn't see what she saw. She's being told that she knows things when she's saying she doesn't know. She's being told that her intentions are something that they're not. I mean, they're really messing with her head. And so now she's doubting that she saw what she saw.
Shirt. He has a lot of like similar to that one that you're wearing, so could be that one.
Do you know if one of the, you have the Suburban, the Raptor?
Cherokee that I drew, that I parked next to the garbage
was
man.
there.
Yeah, that's the
But
one I
you
drew.
did, when you took your call to the school.
Yes, and I don't know why I think in my head that the Suburban was there, but maybe I'm making it up.
Okay, so you're not sure if the Suburban was there when you were taking the call to school, right?
No, I thought in my head, and I think I told them yes that I saw the car, but now I'm doubting.
Right, okay. Was the Raptor there?
Well, the Raptor sleeps on the other, there's another 2 other garage, and I don't go there if I don't have to,
Okay.
where the motos are.
But you said before that you'll take whatever vehicles are left over, right?
Yeah, but in this case, I took the Cherokee.
Yeah, and the Suburban could have been there.
It could have. I mean, obviously, for me, the best car to use is the Cherokee, because it's a more
Yeah,
like
it's
little.
smaller, yeah.
The Raptor I hate, but I have to use it a lot. And the Suburban, I don't like it, but man, if there's
When
nothing,
did the damage happen on the Suburban?
that was me. I crashed it.
Well, do you remember when?
Yes, Friday before the 24th, I went with Petu. We went down to Massachusetts for a flea market. There was a big flea market. It was raining and in
Brimfield? In Brimfield, Mass?
it was like an hour away from Farmington. Yes, it's a big one. It's
A couple miles long?
sorry?
A couple miles long?
Yes, it's you just walk like a road and there were like tents. It was raining, disgusting. But my friend, she has a store, so she buys things and they do restorations of furniture. She and her partner, they do. And so on the way back, like around 2, I was on the right line to get exit 67, and a girl with a Toyota, a blue Toyota, obviously didn't look, and she turned. And I put the brakes and I didn't stop.
So after the accident, you came home, and when did you plan to get it fixed?
That was Friday, the crash. Saturday, Sunday closed. Monday morning, Manfred, the girl's insurance calls me, and we arranged. They said we're gonna send you an email so you can take the pictures of the car to do a quote. So I did that. And they say it takes 24 hours for the quote to arrive. Then they said,
Not sure if this is going to come up later or not, so I'm going to mention it. I'm going to point out that there was damage to the Suburban. The Fotis is not, I'm not talking about Jennifer's now. Damage to the Suburban. Michelle says she does it. She gives a, to me, credible explanation here. There was, in fact, a call to insurance. That incident and that damage precedes the crime. So the damage then becomes, I would think, irrelevant unless they try and use it in some different way. And the fact that there was a call to insurance and that there were emails is something that the police can verify.
then I called, because they said we can give you the body shop, or if you have someone in mind. Foti said use Davidson. So I called Chevrolet Davidson in Canton. They said I can give you a time for after Memorial on Tuesday morning.
So you dropped it off on Tuesday?
Yes, in the morning, like around 8:45. 12:45. I called Enterprise, we arranged the cars, and then, Tuesday I dropped off Nicole, I came back home, and then I went to take the car, and they gave me another car, but Foti said, please ask for an 8-seat car because, he was supposed to see the kids.
Oh,
Uh,
his intention was to go see his children.
Yes, so that's,
His wife, is that soon the ex-wife is there?
yes, because that was Tuesday that I took.
After.
Yes, and then the girl gave me another car, I don't know the brand, but you guys can call them. And so I drove to the house and she came like around 1 and we exchanged cars. She got me a Yukon, it's similar to the Suburban. Well, that's the car that I was driving.
Yeah.
And now you have the studio.
Well, I rented because Andy said to get rid of the car, don't have anything to do with Fotis. We were staying in the hotel where you guys arrested us. I'm in the same hotel, I changed rooms, and I got out of the Fotis account or point, and I changed them, and I'm staying there for a moment until the 12th, until I know, because I have no house, no car, no nothing.
So you're upset with Fotis
Yes, of course.
because he implicated you in this whole mess?
Because of that, because of what you told, I don't know.
What's upsetting what's the biggest thing that's upsetting you right now?
The problem that
Is it your house? What's upsetting you?
No,
Okay, is it, your relationship's over with Fotis? Is that what's
No,
happening?
it's
Is
like
it
the
that-
whole thing that I can be in prison because of him.
What's the thing that's getting to you most right now?
That
Which part?
I can be like access or I don't remember what's the title because of him.
That you could be in jail because of him?
Yes.
Does it upset you that
Bueno, of
Jennifer?
course him.
Does,
Bueno, and yes, everything, but it's in a mix. Like obviously I have to see myself right now, and I'm
Absolutely.
worried that I have a daughter and I can be in a jail for I don't know.
We don't want that to happen.
Me either.
No.
Me either.
We're
One of the things I've noticed through everything with her is that her priority is her daughter. Based on what you've seen, based on these interviews, never mind what you've heard people say about her, never mind the spin that's put on this case. Look at her behavior and her attitude with her daughter. Do you think that she would risk her daughter and risk going to jail forever for Fotis? She's saying right here, they're saying, what are you most upset about? And the one volunteers, is it your house? I mean, I didn't think that when watching her, but I understand why a police officer would ask that, because that sort of thing is so often motivation for terrible things. And her response is almost like, what? Like, what's wrong with you? No. And she says, I have to think about myself. She's not even trying to pretend to be altruistic. She doesn't know Jennifer. So her thing is, like, this guy got me in trouble. Like, maybe he actually did something and now maybe I'm going to go to jail. So yeah, I'm upset. And I think any of us would be.
actually trying to keep that,
right.
to minimize whatever kind of jail time you're facing. You have to break away fully though from the idea that you and Fotis are together.
Yeah, that's
Let's rack your
I
brain.
know, but
Let's
you
rack
have
your
to
brain.
understand it. Like, it's,
No.
Holy crap, man. They already asked her, so when they were asking, is it the house that you're upset about? Is it that your relationship with Fotis is over? That wasn't the thing. And this detective is saying, well, you have to get it through your head that you have to make a break from Fotis. She already said that. And she said that when her lawyer said, look, you have to have nothing to do with Fotis. What does she do? Okay, she gets off his accounts. She returns the vehicle because it was under him. So now she has no vehicle, but she does that. That's not her focus. Yet, this detective has it in his head that that's what it is. Now, why is that? I'll tell you why. Part of it is because when you see a couple involved or who you think are involved in crime, very often they don't want to make that break from each other. And that's part of the barrier in getting information because they're trying to remain loyal to each other. That is not what we're seeing here, but he has that in his head. It's an assumption about how relationships are. And possibly, I think I'm going to say it. I'm thinking it, but I'm going to say it. How he thinks women are. How he thinks women are with men or about men. I think this guy has all sorts of bias and he's putting that on her. And that will affect everything. It will affect how he thinks. It will affect how he interprets what he hears. It will affect his choice of words. It will affect his demeanor, how he decides to proceed in the investigation. It affects everything. And right here, I mean, she's trying to say something. They ask her a question. She's giving an answer and he's not listening. And not only is he not listening and not hearing her, he comes back with something that lets her know that he's not listening and he doesn't believe her or take her seriously here. I don't know, man. Like, I would have been mad. I might have walked out on this interview way before this. I think I might have walked out at the beginning. So, and she's here sticking it out. I think she thinks if they can figure this out, she'll be okay.
It's hard for me to see this person that supposedly was, because with me, well, at least I never felt that he did. He never hit me. He never talked aggressively to me. Yes, we have fights as couples, but I'm also very dominant when it comes to a fight. I don't let myself down because I don't want that. I don't know, I was in Colorado, and one night I didn't call him because Nicole's dad and we were having a conversation. The next day, the text is like, you're a liar, tell me where to take your things, or where to send your things, and send me my 2 pairs of skis. And I said, what are you talking about? And I got so upset, I said, yes, put them in a container and send them here to Colorado. And then 3 hours after, he was calling, oh, I'm sorry, I know I was upset. And that's all in the texts. If you can see them in my WhatsApp.
We have no doubt
That's who he is. That's what he's about.
Doesn't that sound familiar? The pattern, the jealousy, the accusations, you're a liar. And she's saying, oh, he doesn't talk aggressive. Well, I don't know. I think that's pretty aggressive. So maybe she means yelling. Maybe she means something else. When she says, I'm not putting up with that. Fine. Put my things in the bag or the box or whatever. Fine. And he says, oops. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it. You've seen this before in a million other cases. And she also says something else that's interesting. She said, I think it was, I don't want to let myself down or something along those lines. Meaning she has some level of self-respect. This is not sounding like somebody who helped cover up a crime. She's not going extreme one way or another. She says, I never thought Fotis would do anything terrible like this, right? And who does? Who gets into a relationship thinking, oh, this person's going to ruin my life. I know this, and I'm just going to go ahead anyway. You don't get into a relationship thinking, I think this person's evil, so I'm just going to jump into a relationship. It usually doesn't work like that, right? So she's saying, I didn't think this.
That's who he is, that's what he's about.
Okay, but I didn't know that at this
How about the conversations after Friday, after Jennifer's disappearance? How was his demeanor towards you? Was there any headbutting going on? This stuff is starting to break the news. Like you said in your last meeting, there's cops on your road. So what is your conversations with him? During this, I mean, honestly, excuse my husband.
Yes, I said, this is enough, this is too much,
She's trying to answer and he just keeps talking.
this work has really gone completely out of control. I'm fed up. After this is finished and she appears, I'm leaving. I'm going to Colorado. I really don't want to be involved anymore.
That sentence she just said. After this is finished and she reappears, I'm going to Colorado. So in her mind, she's done with relationship with Fotis. There's been lots of stress. It's just, even before the crime, there's just been lots of stress with the divorce. She's had it, because now this. But when she says this sentence, she's expecting this is going to be done. Jennifer's going to reappear. It's fluid. It just spills out of her. And she's saying it in a way where she's saying to Fotis when Jennifer reappears. And as she's explaining this conversation that she had with Fotis, her mannerisms, her tone, her cadence are all the same as when she was talking about the argument that they had about when she went to Colorado. It's spilling out. If she was lying about this, or if this was a planted story, or something she had to make sure she mentioned, we would see a difference here, and we're not seeing a difference. I think she said something like this to Fotis. And I think that no matter where she got the idea, whether it was from him or whether she'd come up with it, somewhere in her she's thinking, well, Jennifer's just someplace else and it's all going to work out at this time that she's having the conversation with Fotis. And I find that this little statement here, even though it was just kind of done in passing, I find that telling.
It's been 2 years of torture, of courts, and upset, and I'm not used to this. And my life has never been in conflict. And since I met you and I moved to Colorado, to Connecticut, it's been like a nightmare.
Mm-hmm. And how did he respond to that?
And he's like, everything's gonna be okay, don't worry, I'm sorry, please don't leave me, this is gonna get better, don't worry, we're gonna go through this,
So he keeps talking about we, and he keeps asking you not to leave him, right? Right?
Yes.
Why do you think he's doing that? I'll tell you why I think he's doing that. Because he knows that you have information that if you're away from him, separated from him, that's gonna get you. That's what we're here to find out. He is keeping you with him.
Because Fotis is doing something or thinking something doesn't mean that she's in on it or that Fotis' thinking is in any way correct. The conclusion that this officer has come to about why Fotis is saying don't leave me is a reasonable conclusion. Michelle had to go pick up her daughter at a play, and Fotis insisted on going with her. So think about this. So Michelle's doing this. It's just a normal thing. And he's insisting on going with her. And she says to him, why? You don't need to come with me. Because he's somewhere else completely in his head. Because he's just committed this crime. So he has to make sure that she doesn't suspect, that she doesn't talk to anybody. He has to keep control because he's going to be under a high amount of stress at this point. And he's almost past the finish line as far as he's concerned. So he has to maintain control a little longer. For him to say to her, no, don't leave me, I think that he would have said that to her anyway. Just as in the story she told about when she was in Colorado and he accused her of lying and all that. And she says, fine. All of a sudden, he's trying to make sure that he doesn't lose her. I'm really sorry. So the don't leave me could be him wanting to maintain control because he had an idea in his head about how life would be. Could be that the relationship with Michelle and keeping her is important to him. And it could be any or all of the above. But the detective is going down a particular road here. He's not listening to Michelle. His thing is, well, Fotis's reason is because he doesn't want you to give us information. Maybe that's part of it. She probably does have information that she doesn't even realize she has. Little things even, like he hadn't been sleeping lately, or lately he's been getting up at 4:30 in the morning. Those little details, I mean, she wouldn't think that that's information. This guy is making assumptions about where she is in her head and what it is that he needs to say to her. Because remember, his goal is to get information out of her. In a situation where the female suspected accomplice or the female partner of somebody who's committed a crime and the female is still stuck on the guy or torn and wanting to protect him, what the detective is doing here would be the right thing to say. But that is not actually what's going on with her. And she has said so. But he's not cluing in. He can't get past his prejudices. And when he says, oh, you have information, she's taken aback. What information? That wasn't a put on response. That was what? Huh? She doesn't say, no, I don't. She's like, what?
To control you and to make sure that you don't give up some information accidentally.
He said,
That shows you.
It could be information that you don't even know. Yeah, you don't know about, so we're trying to extract it out of you.
So in his
You might be
mind,
able
he
to-
said what to you?
in his mind, when I heard that, I thought he loved me and that he wanted to be with me and Nicole and his 5 kids and be all together and supposedly, I don't know, like, the thing I don't understand, there's a report that supposedly was favorable for him and he was happy about that, for what I understand.
That's when you have a lot of money, you can hire a lot of attorneys to report the divorce stuff. I mean, that's just,
Was that the latest
that
report?
report with her site stuff. I mean,
There was a psychologist.
So now we have detectives talking over each other. On top of talking over her, they ask her a question. They don't let her answer. And I notice that the female detective cues her to continue saying what she'd been trying to say that the guys wouldn't let her say. So the female detective cues her and shuts up. But she still can't get the full answer out because they interrupt her and then they start interrupting each other. This is just...
An evaluation test done through Dr. Herman, which he interviewed me when I was in Colorado through Skype.
yeah.
And apparently that report that they sealed it, and I spoke with Mike Rose, they were driving, saying that this report came very favorable. And he was happy about the report. So that's why it doesn't make, and he was like, we're gonna get the kids, I'm gonna have the kids, legal custody. So he
He's
actually,
painting a really nice picture for you guys.
Yes.
and he said, don't, like, I don't remember the words, but like, don't be surprised that soon you're gonna be like mother of 6.
Well-
How do you feel about that? I'm like, oh, I know the kids, they're super nice kids. They're super, I mean, of course I'm gonna love.
Michelle hasn't seen the report and she's throwing in, well, but it's sealed. I don't know if this is the case, but the first thought that jumped into my head was, well, maybe she thinks it's sealed because Fotis told her that's why she can't see it. And this is interesting as well because she's saying, oh, Fotis was really happy about this. But she'd also said that he hadn't been sleeping and he was getting up at 4:30 in the morning. So obviously those things don't connect. So was there a report and it wasn't going to be admissible, or there wasn't a report, or Fotis is lying about what was in it? All of that. I mean, who knows? The important point here is Michelle's perception and Michelle's behavior, because Fotis isn't actually on trial. I'd like to know exactly when he said this. Don't be surprised if you're the mother of 6. If Michelle conspired to commit the crime in the first place, is she saying this right now? Is she going to be coming out with this? And if you're thinking, oh, well, it's because she was going to put it all on Fotis. Well, she doesn't come out strongly one way or another. He did, he didn't. And she's not stacking the evidence intentionally in one specific direction or another. If it was super clear and super strong and absolute and dramatic and all that, that would be suspicious.
You're gonna be like mother of 6. How do you feel about that? I'm like, oh, I know the kids. They're super nice kids. They're super. I mean, of course I'm gonna love. I love them because.
When was that? When did he say that to you? Don't be surprised that you're gonna be the mother of 6.
When he got the report, I'm talking about like when the report came out.
How long ago was that?
Was it 2 weeks, 3 weeks before?
You guys can have. Do you have the report?
Yeah, no, just.
When did that report came out? It was like before Greek Easter, so it was before the 28th of April.
April 28th?
No,
before that.
Before, because the 28th of April was Easter. My family came all the way from Miami and Cincinnati to spend Easter, and it was the report was within that week because he told everybody he was super happy. We even did the Greek dance. He was happy about the report, and my girls came to the East Greek Easter, and he said everything's gonna be okay. The report came good. Fotis told me that she has like a borderline. We even went to talk to Humphrey, to his.
He's very good at what he does. You have to realize, most of what he told you is probably self-serving for him. All right?
Have you ever noticed Jennifer to be unfit with the children?
I never met her.
You've never met her at all?
The only time I saw her, 2 seconds, was in summer of 2017, at some point in August. He had to have the kids with supervised, and the judge gave him permission to have the kids in the pond and with a supervised. And they were supposed, let's say, they had to leave at 12. I don't remember what time. It was from 9 to 12, the activity. And I called him because I was driving, and it was already 12. And I called to say, did they leave? And he said, no, wait, don't come in yet, they haven't left. So I parked outside the pond in the road, under a tree. And all of a sudden, a minute later, a Suburban comes. It was dark window, I didn't see, and all of a sudden gets really close, and I'm like, oh, it's gonna hit my mirror. And when I looked, Jennifer was with the phone like this, trying to take a picture of me. So I saw that,
Before I forget, I want to mention that I'm noticing that Fotis's visits with the kids are supervised. Courts don't do that for no reason. And who knows what Fotis is telling Michelle about Jennifer and what Fotis is telling Jennifer about Michelle. Nobody knows what game he was playing with these women. Fotis is giving her the impression that Jennifer has like some serious mental illness, and so that would sound scary. And then Michelle herself has this encounter where Jennifer's taking a picture. He pits people against each other, and he's painted a picture of Jennifer that serves himself and helps him maintain control over everybody.
Then I realized that it was her, so I went like this, like around her, and I went inside the pond. And I think there was a motion that I was supposed that I was in the pond there, which is not true. I was never in the pond, I was outside in public road. But she, for what Focus told me, she made a motion that Mrs. Troconis was in the pond and I saw the kids. Anyway, that's what Focus told me.
Michelle, I want to, you have to have a shift in your thinking, okay? Who's the gentleman sitting right here? Okay. Why is he here? He's here, whose interest is he serving?
Mine.
Right. We actually are trying to kind of serve yours as well.
Yep.
And Jennifer. Okay. Whose interest does FOTUS serve?
What?
Who's FOTUS interested in?
In himself.
In himself. So everything that FOTUS has told you is suspicious. I'm not saying everything's a lie, but everything is suspect. And probably a lot of it is.
I'm starting to get mad. His first statement, how he introduces what he's going to say, is, Michelle, you need to have a shift in your thinking. What? What is he talking about? A shift in her thinking? She has said nothing that should elicit that comment. She was asked about how she felt about Jennifer, I think. Her response was, well, I never met her except one time I saw her, and she tells the story about seeing Jennifer at the pond. He's still stuck on this idea that Michelle is stuck on FOTUS. She has said nothing of the sort. The female detective asked her a question and she is trying to answer the question. Did she go on sort of like a tangent or a bit of more of an explanation? Yes, she did. She in no way indicated, I'm still stuck on FOTUS. We're going to be together. She in no way indicated anything that should elicit that response from this detective. This detective is not even in the freaking room. You see his body sitting there? His mind is not in that room. His mind is in a world that he's created or put together in his own head. This doesn't connect. This is a problem. This is really bad.
False, and it's to serve himself. So you have to listen first to your attorney, and then you have to listen to us through your attorney. You're trying, right. So when you talk about things that FOTUS has told you, you have to read.
You have to listen to your attorney. Yeah, you should. It's a good idea. You have to listen to us? Whether it's through your attorney or anything else? Oh no. Oh no. He'd indicated that, well, we're on your side. And she says, and Jennifer's. It's her who remembers, well, and Jennifer's. Because that's the focus. That's the whole reason why everybody is working so hard. This mom of 5 who's just trying to have a life is missing and probably dead. I do know. For those of you who don't know me, the police do say things like, yeah, we're on your side. Yeah, we want to help you. Of course they do. And sometimes they really do. Sometimes there's a point at which the interests of the police and the interest of the person being interviewed diverge. And that's why we need lawyers.
Really suspect what? Okay. So who is FOTUS good friends? Who are his best friends? His like right hand.
Mark. Marcielo.
Okay.
Like he lives in
Medium.
Providence.
That's what's your name is.
And then Andreas.
Okay.
That he's a Greek. And he
Are these workers?
No, friends.
They're
Mark.
here in the United States, or are they?
Mark, yes, he lives in Providence, and they went to Rome together, but they met way before because of the water ski
Yep.
world. And they, I think, Foti said him up. They're friends from like 18 years old. Andreas, the last name is Greek. It's
Money.
Is he looking for work? Is he here? Is Andreas?
no, he lives in Greece. Andreas was here, like in December.
Here's what I'm trying to get at. And I'm not saying you have any information about specifics of Jennifer's disappearance, but if Fotis wanted to first, and he wanted help, or he needed help, who might he use to help him?
Well, his best friend is Mark and Andreas. Andreas lives in Greece,
Okay. And
I guess he's
Mark
here.
lives in Providence?
and Mark lives in Providence.
Okay.
And he's also going through a divorce, and they laugh about it because they say that they're going through the same. And he actually, his trial ended over what they needed. I don't know what they went to mediate. I don't know about the court things, but he said that he was over with his case, with his divorce. And
What about Kent?
Kent is the lawyer
Right.
of Ford Group.
Okay.
So Ken and Fotis are kind of business partners, he's a lawyer, it's his business.
Bueno, Fotis always said Kent is a nice guy. I worked with him all my life, and he's the
Did you ever meet Kent's wife?
no.
Do you know if Fotis ever communicated with Kent's wife?
Yes, they were communicating because supposedly, which I think it's weird, the wife apparently put like a rape case against Kent.
Yes.
And then Fotis, like a week, or 3 weeks ago, told me that Kent and the wife want to go back. I'm like, well, how did they want to
Has
go back?
Fotis ever talked to Kent's wife? That's what we're asking. That you would know. Is there a reason why you would do that? Why Fotis would talk to Kent's wife?
I don't know if they know each other.
Well, they met.
Oh, they did?
Oh, in public.
In public?
Yeah, he was even inviting her to your house.
When?
In the last couple months leading up to when, just before Jennifer went missing. To come over and be intimate. In your house. He even met out with her at a bar. Trying to work back, to get Kent back with his wife.
No, that, I remember he saying, Kent wants me to talk to the wife, so for them to get, but they can't because he has a restraining whatever.
You can't have
They
contact.
cannot, exactly.
So you're aware of that?
No, yes, but I didn't know.
Fotis and Kent are, I don't know if I want to use the word close, thick as thieves in some way, enough that Kent would elicit Fotis's help in violating a court order. There is an order for Kent basically to leave his ex-wife alone. She's made a serious allegation. Kent feels comfortable enough to ask Fotis to skirt the court's orders. So that's very interesting that this Kent person and Fotis have this kind of relationship.
That he
The
wanted to
intimate
have
part, right? You didn't know about that.
He was asking her to come to your home, where you lived with Fotis, to be intimate with her husband,
To be intimate with Ken?
yes, correct, with Kent, to be intimate with Kent. So
no.
Kent and his wife, no, not with Fotis. Kent and Kent's wife would be intimate in your home.
Okay, no, I didn't.
Yeah, so sorry for that confusion.
So, I mean, that's again, that's another thing about Fotis that we have just found out that you didn't know about. There's always a little bit of truth
I
in
knew
every
that
lie.
Kent wasn't with a divorce or a
So there's-
restraint.
So there's always a little bit of truth with the lie. So he told you the little bit of the truth was that he has to call her, but the whole truth is that he was a little bit of a different motivation. We're just trying to show you that he's not the person that you
You guys
thought.
know more than me.
Not always, and not in the important stuff. Like where's Jennifer? That's what we really don't.
Actually, it should be the opposite. I should be interviewing you.
The dumpster on 80 Mountain Spring. There was a dumpster on 80 Mountain Spring.
I'm going to repeat that because I'm not sure if you caught it. if everybody caught it. She says this should be reversed. I should be interviewing you. And it's interesting here how the detective says, well, there's another thing you didn't know. Meanwhile, they're saying, you know, and you're not telling us.
Spring, that property, that was for sale, there was a dumpster there?
Now, no.
Not now, but there was.
Yeah, a long time
A
ago.
long time ago,
Like when they
any
finished-
dumpsters recently on that property? You know, for clean up and last minute stuff?
No, the way we've been always cleaning it for the last year, it's been in between the cleaning ladies and us and me.
And there's no dumpster on site for debris?
There's no, like the big
Yeah,
dumpster.
like a regular, just, you know, little
No, there,
5-yard
no,
dumpster.
no. They, because they
After
cost,
the construction,
they
houses,
cost like, I don't know, like, I think by budget it's like $5,000 and they,
that's too much for photos.
I don't know, I'm just
Maybe you
saying
should-
that he puts it in a budget and that's what I see. And then when the construction is out, he returns them. I don't know, listen, I don't work for Ford Group. I was helping him.
Yeah.
Because I have my rugs, I have my daughter, and it's just because I have time to do things and I cannot be just sitting around. But he doesn't pay me, I wasn't an employee, I did help him with photos, with all that because I like that.
Yeah. So you guys living arrangements, right? He's got his bank accounts, you guys,
No, I don't
it's all
have.
separate? Does he
Separate.
give you money regularly?
The only thing I have is a credit card that I use for supermarket and gas. Then, if I have to buy something for Nicole, for myself, my insurance, my cell phone, my expenses of my home in Colorado, my Nicole's school, if I do my hair,
That's all.
that's all my money.
What is, okay.
Fotis doesn't get, when we travel, yes, he pays
It
for the
takes care of
travel,
it, yeah.
for the tickets.
Right.
But then the rest, like when I'm in Colorado, I pay for everything. We don't have bank accounts together. I only have a credit card. I can give it to you. I don't want it anymore.
Now, if you don't, I don't want to get too far into finances, but on any given week,
This is
how
the
much,
only
do you have a
card.
savings and a checking, or is it, you would be, yeah? Like, how are you financially? You're on your own?
I'm on my own with my
Very,
daughter.
very good? Or is it, you
No,
know,
of
me, I
course
can
not.
say there's been times I live paycheck to paycheck, it is what it is.
No,
You know, are you?
when I'm complicated, I ask my mom.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. I don't mind.
No, we're just trying to get a handle on the relationship,
But you
the
can-
dynamics of your relationship and,
No, we don't have anything in common, nothing.
okay.
So when Fotis goes to visit the children,
She pulls out the credit card and is willing to hand it over. The lawyer goes to give it back to her and she says, I don't want it. She doesn't want anything to do with Fotis. She keeps making it clear. If she is conscious of information that she has to turn over, she's in the place mentally to start doing that. If she was an accomplice, she's in a place to say, she's in a mental place to say, I want a deal. But that is not what she does. She doesn't ask for a deal. And I'm really starting to think that the reason she isn't asking for a deal is because she doesn't think she needs one. I really think that she believes if the police investigate, they will figure it out that I had nothing to do with anything. At the beginning of all this, you know, when I saw this driving around to garbage cans, I'm thinking, who does that? Well, now I know why.
and he goes for a supervised visit, Jennifer is usually in the area or there.
Sorry, again?
When Fotis goes to visit
In
his children,
Uh-huh.
in New Canaan, and for the supervised visits, and Jennifer's there. How does that make you feel?
Yeah. From my understanding, they weren't talking or sending messages or nothing for the past 2 years. It's always been with the supervisor, and from what he tells me, it's like, oh, she didn't give me the kids because instead of one, it was two, and apparently it's always chaotic. That's what he always told me. And that they only communicate with a family
Yeah.
wizard plan, that because it's seen by everybody, and if it's through mail, they copy paste, they CC their lawyers, and I think me. That was the communication that he always said that he had. Now, after that report, for what he told me, they started having communications by phone. That she called him and she was like, well, I want to fix this. This is not working out. This has taken too long. This is what he told me. Then he said that apparently in one of the conversations, he said, do you know that your lawyer is milking you? Because, I mean, this report was to be favored to you, and he was the one who wanted her to be in the case. And he was the one pushing for me to go to New York and talk. And I was the one, I think for what he told me, he put a motion to not have Herman. So apparently she said like, yeah, I get it. I think I'm bringing a friend of mine that is a lawyer. And that apparently, saying what he said, that Jennifer was getting it, that what's the name of Ruben, I think it's the name of our lawyer, was kind of like, taking advantage of the money and making this case long. This is what Fotis told me. That was like one day of conversation. Then apparently they went to Fotis had the kids on a Saturday, and they went to a fair in New Canaan, where they have rides and all that, with the supervisor. And apparently Jennifer went with them. I don't know, that's what he told me. My upsetness was that she's manipulating, she knows she's gonna lose the kids. Be careful, because if she really has borderline and depression and all the things that the report, supposedly for what he said, is true, she's playing you for this. So let the legal stuff work. Now you have the power to work with the legal system, if that's true.
Okay, I don't need to go on about obviously Fotis is lying, obviously Michelle's impressions of Jennifer are based on lies. There's one thing that she says here that really grabbed my attention. She's describing talking to Fotis, and she says, well, let the legal system work. One of the things that we look at and look for in assessing threats is whether or not the subject takes or attempts to take action through legal means. Because if they take action through legal means, it suggests that they're less likely to engage in, well, I'll just call it bad or violent behavior if there's a legal route that they can pursue. Now, that gets risky when all the legal options run out. Then that's a different sort of avenue that you have to look at when assessing threat, because what are they going to do when the legal avenues are exhausted? And so let's separate Fotis and Michelle here. Fotis has been going through court and the system, and I don't know, and we may never know, whether or not things were at the point that they either were exhausted in terms of his options, or they were about to be exhausted, or he thought they were about to be exhausted. If this divorce is coming to an end and he thinks he's going to lose, that might be that tumbler that falls into place that causes him to move ahead with something he's been thinking about for a very, very long time. Now, looking at Michelle and this issue of taking a legal avenue, I find it significant that her thinking, her response is to say, look, let the court do what it's supposed to do. Let the legal process take over. So where she goes in her head is a legal avenue. That is a really significant detail here.
That the report is okay, and Mihan was saying, I'm concerned about the kids, this is all what Fotis. I never spoke with Mihan, I've never seen the judge, I've never seen Ruben, I've never seen any of these people. And because he was so like, no, don't worry, it's been nice, she's actually being very nice, she's being cooperative. I'm like, okay, I said, I want to talk to the therapist, because this is not normal. For me, she's making like a plan. And we went to talk to Henry 2 times.
Together or separately?
Together. Fotis and I with Henry sitting in front. and he's in West Hanford. And we explained the situation, so he said, Michelle, you stay out. If the kids come to the house, you don't mention Jennifer, don't talk bad, but try to do your best to, and if the kids mention, listen, and Fotis, you have to manage the situation, and you Fotis have to deal with all the divorce and everything. Okay. What I didn't know, and I told Andy yesterday, I think, the Wednesday before she disappeared, that Friday, he goes supposedly to Grace Farms. When he goes to Grace Farms, usually I help him cook the food for the kids. That day I had to pick up Nicole, so I said, go to buy food in the Capo. So apparently he called the Capo and ordered salad and I don't know what else. And he goes, in my mind, to Grace Farms. I go with Nicole and Kim and Lauren, a friend of Nicole's and the mom. We go to Ichiro, to a Japanese restaurant in West Hartford to eat. And then we went to Icy Rose, and I get home at 9:30. He was already in the house. And so how was it? How was the kids? Good. We played basketball. It was amazing seeing them. They all say hi. Okay. That stayed there. On Saturday or Sunday, when he's talking to Jacob on the phone, Jacob said, Fotis, you have to be very precise how you write it, like a timeline. That's why we started writing the timeline.
Well,
Because
it's interesting that
So Fotis is lying to Michelle about his whereabouts, which is not a big surprise, but at the time, from this woman who trusts him, it is a surprise, right? She didn't know. She thought he was somewhere else and found out later that he had gone to Jennifer's.
Hartford wasn't in the timeline. And it's just interesting that Hartford was not in the timeline, dumping trash. That's pretty interesting.
No, but this is, wait, but let me go back.
I'm just throwing it out there, this is kind of why we're all.
Okay.
Why is he deciding to throw out something like he's jumping around? She's trying to explain something. What Michelle is saying is touching on Fotis having some sort of a contact or visit or something with Jennifer. I would think that they would want to listen very closely. One of my favorite tactics in an interview is to shut up, because the other person very often will just keep talking. And the more they talk, the more information you get. Even if they've gone off topic, sometimes you pick up little tidbits that you can use, either psychologically or specifically. Yet right here, she's trying to tell them something, and he interrupts with a slight change in subject. Very frustrating. And by the way, why isn't the garbage in Hartford on your timeline? They haven't even got there yet, right? They haven't even got there yet. So he's got questions in his head that he's waiting to ask, and fine, but he's not actually waiting to ask them. Perhaps if there was only one or at most two detectives in that room, it would have been a little easier even for the detectives to wait. Because you've got all these, you see 6 people in that room with her. 6 people who are having different thoughts and who have questions, who might not be able to get their questions out. And there's nobody, by the way, in another room to say, okay, when you go back in, ask this, and this. I don't know. This is wild.
Jacob says, write down exactly where you guys did on Wednesday night, if you went inside Jennifer's house. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, in my mind. And Fotis goes, no, I did not go in. And he said, make sure, where did you guys eat? And he was like, and it wasn't Puebla, the supervisor. I think it was someone else that day. I don't know. And I'm still listening to him. I'm like, what he's talking about? Like going to Jennifer's house? Like, he didn't tell me that. He told me he was going to Grace Farms. So when all this conversation, and Fotis was like, no, I didn't, but yes, I have the kids, we played, I don't know if her hair went in, and I'm still like, but why I don't understand the house, Jennifer, Grace. So when they hung up, obviously my mind, I started getting very angry. And I'm like, Fotis, where were you on Wednesday? Because you told me you went to Grace. Oh, I didn't tell you, I went to Jennifer, she bought a basketball arrow or whatever it's called, and we ate outside. Why you didn't tell me? Like, why you have to hide that? Well, because maybe, I don't know, you can get annoyed, you can get worried.
So have you been annoyed and worried in the past? Or is it just that one time?
No, that one time, because supposedly they never had contact. And I got...
Why is Fotis hiding this from Michelle when he had no reason to, and he had not hidden it previously, as far as we know? So that's another change in behavior, possibly. Notice she says that Jennifer bought a basketball arrow. As well as she seems to be speaking, there are things that she doesn't know. Her focus is what happened. He was there and didn't tell me, and this is how I found out. She found out because the lawyer, Fotis' lawyer, was saying, you need to make a timeline. This is interesting too, that her focus is, what? You were there? What? I thought you were somewhere else. Why didn't you tell me that? That's interesting, don't you think?
So upset. I grabbed the phone, I threw it on the floor, and I said, okay. I mean, you're being very disrespectful for me. And I walked away. He goes, Michi, no, come, let's talk. I don't want to talk, I don't want to talk. And he goes, please, let's talk. And let me tell you what happened. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to know anything about it. It's enough. And I go to Nicole's room. That was the conversation after Jacob, which I don't know if it was Saturday or Sunday.
We can stop it right now.
That's all I got for you today. Trust your gut. I'll see you in the comments.